Hello, a very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the Singapore Geospatial Week Plus series of webinars. We hope that you have been enjoying all the webinars so far. So today we would like to welcome our next speaker, Mr. Abhishek Tandon. He is the Deputy Director, Geospatial Development from NParks, and he will be talking about transforming urban tree management. Mr. Abhishek, over to you, please.
Thank you, Azhar. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Abhishek Tandon from National Parks Board. And first of all, I would like to thank Singapore Land Authority for this opportunity to share how the National Parks Board of Singapore has leveraged on technology for transforming urban tree management. So before even I jump on how we are doing the urban tree management, I would like to first tell some of the history. So back in 1900, this is what our Raffles Place looks like, where over 90% of the original forest in Singapore has been cleared. After that, our former Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew set out to transform Singapore into a tropical garden city. And that's how today our Singapore looks like. This is Nature Reserve, Central Catchment Nature Reserve. We manage all the roadside trees. There are over 6 million trees in Singapore. There are 350 gardens and parks managed by National Parks Board. There are 80 kilometers of nature ways. And this is one of the nice sky-rise greenery from central CBD area. And this is how our green Singapore looks like. So as we are moving towards a smart nation, which works on digital, which works on data, which works on analytics, information, and recently on 3D, vegetation is mostly in 1D or 2D. And that's where we are moving towards urban tree management platform. So on the left, if you see, there are only super trees shown from the Gardens by the Bay. There is no vegetation shown in 3D. And that's where we are working at the NParks. So first of all, I will tell you what it takes to do the tree inventory and tree inspection process. So this is a 2-page paper form which our officers need to fill for each tree which they are doing inspection. We converted it into a digital form. However, on the right, if you see, our officers still have to go to the ground and check the trees onto the PI, ECP, or all the highways. And it is really risky to go down there and check each and every tree. And they also need to check whether cars can see the signboards from 50 to 75 meters distance. So this requires a lot of work going on to the ground and collecting the data and inspecting the tree. If you are wondering what it takes to inspect the tree, this is just an example, all the way from crown, trunk, and even they look at the buttress, which are the root of the tree, just above the root. So we helped our officers by using data. We are using Lidar data, we are using imagery, panoramic, satellite, and we are also using the 2D data which has been collected by our officers onto the ground. Actually, this is the data is the base for our tree inventory and inspection process. So this is just showing that what are the different types of LiDAR scan works: airborne, mobile, terrestrial, backpack, and we are using all types of data scan in our project. So I will first start showing how mobile LiDAR scan works, which is just next to the road. So this is a small video which is showing a mobile LiDAR scanner set up onto a car, and these are all the equipments needs to set up. This is GPS calibration has been done, and when we have to do the tree inspection, we just need to sit in the car and just start collecting the data. So on top, there is a Lidar scanner which is collecting the data. And this is, we are doing field scanning at Singapore Botanic Garden. The red equipment is actually 360-degree image, panoramic image data collector. So actually this collects all the data for us, and this is how it looks like from the outside. I will show you how this screen or video shows that how LiDAR data looks like actually. So this is a colorized point cloud, and you can see that we have the data for the trees and buildings and all. On the next screen, you see we also have the images of the tree or images of all the places where the car visited, and we overlaid it on 2D and 3D data. So even before we do any processing, users or our arborists can already see the data onto the system. On the next screen, we are actually using this data for finding the trees from the images. So this is a simple example. On the left, you are seeing the actual image collected. On the right, you are seeing that we have trained our machine learning model to extract out the vegetation. And you can, if you see closely, we managed to extract out the trunk in the brown and green for the leaf. Another example, this is slightly complex than earlier. On the background, we have a complex park setup. Now, on this screen, if you see, we managed to even extract out the buttress of the tree, and it is shown on the lower right side in a magenta or pink color. Once we managed to extract out the location of the tree from the geotagged images, we move on to the next. We use point cloud data, which is collected from the LiDAR scanning. And that's where we jumped from an image to a 3D setup of the tree. This is Victoria Street data collected back in 2018. And the white line shows what we have extracted from the previous process, all the tree locations. So here we further validate whether we have extracted the correct data or not, or maybe it's a lamppost, because we are still training our machine learning algorithms. So once we have the point cloud data, we move on to the next level, which is training machine learning for 3D context like point cloud. Here we use the data of intensity of the returns and the number of returns from the point cloud, and we continue training our engine. So frankly, this is like showing original point cloud, then we train our algorithm by human annotated, and then it does the same in a segmented, semantic segmented point cloud. Another example, like this, we have trained thousands of images in thousands of tree data to our algorithm. And finally, this is how algorithm is able to extract the semantics or the point cloud separately. Another example, and here you can see on this screen that we managed to extract out 2 trees separately. So you can see the different color is showing that we managed to segregate out it properly. Another example where again we managed to segregate each tree separately, and these are all automated results. So once we have each tree segregated out, this is just a pictorial representation that how an individual extracted tree from mobile LiDAR looks like. The question is, why are we doing this? Actually, if you remember in the first screen, I showed officers need to go to the ground. They have to do the inspection of the tree. There they record all the height, girth, and all the parameters of the tree. Actually, it is very time taking. With this process, what we have done is we have done this fully automatically. We have extracted the canopy height, canopy depth, width. Even if you see on the left, we are able to extract the branching order and girth of the branching patterns of the tree. On the right, you can see that we managed to extract out the crown from the top, and back in school days, we studied a lot of dy by dx and calculus, and that's all we are using here from the central line, from the tree lean angle. How does it help to the user? Actually, our user or arborist goes onto the ground, and you can see on the upper left picture, on the center divider, they have to take all these measurements. And for center divider, sometimes we have to deploy two people, one doing the actual work and second is the safety officer. So they actually don't need to collect all this data. By using all this technology, the data is populated automatically. If you're wondering how much time it takes, believe me, we have tested that an officer takes a day to do the job. I took 1 minute to scan the road and another few minutes to download the data. And within 5 minutes, we managed to process all the data for that road. So that's how we are helping arborists and the officers to really do a higher quality job rather than taking the measurement. So what next? What more we can do with this? So because we have the data for each and every tree, we can extract the outline of the canopy. We can extract the centroid to find the drag force applied by the heavy winds onto the tree. And we can extract the lean direction from the trunk. If you see on the right, we know that how much is the lean. And this is another example of how we are extracting all the branching structure of the tree. This actually helps us to know that how much is the woody leaf, woody pattern is there, and how much is the green. Actually, it helps us to find out how much is the carbon there and above ground biomass. So this screen shows that on the left, red line shows that this is the first bifurcation of the tree, and the purple line shows that where is the second bifurcation of the tree. And eventually on the right, you are seeing we managed to find out branching order in a geometrical manner, and we have converted it into a simple XML document. What can this do? Actually, this helps us to give data to tree structural model. If you are aware of the building stability tools, which is called as finite element model, we are using the same technology for tree, which is called as tree structural model. And this shows that at what wind speed a tree trunk or branch might break. So this is a pretty complex example that how we have used the data to test or predict the tree behavior under different wind conditions. So this we couple with real-time analytics. We have a few hundred of tree tilt sensors deployed, which sends us the real-time data, and this can be coupled with the model. So you have seen that we have the past data. This helps us to even compare the growth of the tree. This is just showing red is the past, blue is the present changes. Another example, how growth trackable. Another example, we can extract the height of the tree, that how much is the growth in from past scan to this scan. We can find out new plantation which has been done, and we can find out what plantation has been removed from the area. So this actually works on all of the semantics or geometrical parameter of the tree. Now I will move on to the health of the tree. So for health of the tree, we have used airborne Lidar to extract the canopy height model. In simple English, canopy height model is just extraction of the tree height from the airborne Lidar. Means a plane flies, Singapore Land Authority collects the data, and we just use that data. So thanks to Singapore Land Authority for it. And then we used our 2D database combined with CHM, and we found that there are some trees which are missing. There are some trees which the locations has to be accurate. Then we use satellite imagery, world view. Why satellite imagery? Because it gives us the health parameters. With satellite imagery, we again extracted the location of the tree because it never fits properly. There is always a misalignment. And if we use the fusion of the data, we all know that this issue is very common if we use two different data sources. So what we have done is we have we have matched the tree crown and height of the tree by applying various algorithms. And eventually we use worldview and canopy height model, and we come up with a formula to extract even the height of the tree for the trees which are in parks where our mobile lidar scan or car cannot go. So what we get out in the result, we find out the integrated tree detection from the various sources, and this actually tells us about each tree. How this is going to help, that is the next question. Actually, we took this data and we took our worldview satellite imagery provided and by NUS CRISP, and once we overlay it, actually it actually helps us to find out the health of the tree, which is from the various bands available from the satellite imagery, even using the chlorophyll content level, as well as assessment of the and ground validation. So here you can see that some trees are showing lower chlorophyll level, and we find after doing the ground inspection, we found that these trees were actually infested, and we took the corrective actions. So this is after finding the tree health, we have all the data we have extracted, again going, what next we can do? So we are, as if you remember in the starting, I was showing Smart Nation. In the Smart Nation, the trees were missing. So we used all this data to we are moving towards the digital twin or the 3D tree models. This is something we are in process of doing it. As we have all the tree semantics, we are able to reconstruct the tree, and there are various ways to reconstruct the trees, and people familiar with the 3D modeling are aware that there is not one type of 3D model which fits for all the work. We use a volumetric model to find the above ground biomass, leaf area index. We use some of the visualization model like gaming engines, which or AR, VR, and then we use some of the simplified city models and for the simulation purposes, because for citywide, the volumetric model and visualization models are too heavy. So we worked on LOD2 models for the citywide simulation. Or first to create the citywide models for the top 10 species of the tree. What we have done is we have just took the 7 standard shapes and done it. So this is showing the high fidelity models, means the more detailed model, because we have the data, we can work on the growth models and further. And on the right, you are seeing that we are very much fascinated on working towards extracting the branching structure of the tree. On the right, you are seeing that how the branching structure looks like. And on the next screen, once we use this into, it can be mapped parametrically to commercial 3D software for the 3D visualization as well as for simulation. But I would like to tell that these models are very heavy. Maybe the size of one model is over 100 MB. If we go for Samanania Saman or Tabubiya rosea, which has the very nice red and white flowers. So it depends how much detail we wanted to go for the 3D models. So this is just a small visualization where we have worked on a small area to show how a citywide model can look like. Once again, thanks to Singapore Land Authority for giving us the building data, not footprints, is LOD2 models, as well as GovTech for working with us on this project. So here you can see that different color actually shows just the visualization at this point of time. And there are palm shows on the screen. Sorry, this is a bit of laggy on the Zoom. So there are various shapes shown here. So because we have a lot of data, we have to see, we are always doing what next. So we are also working some of the potential application to find the road clearance for for the double-decker bus. So for example, if we are going on a bus and we have to ensure that no branch should touch the double-decker bus. And this on the left video shows that how an intersection can help us to know which tree we need to prune. And on the right, the image shows that we can extract a lot of tree surrounding information. For example, if a tree is going towards the drain, then what all information we can extract. And this all data we are using CityGML data from Singapore Land Authority. So as we have worked on a next level of urban tree management and transform the tree management process, we are actually commercializing this set of tools as well. So so that it can be used all over the world. We don't want to only keep it within Singapore. So some of the countries where open railway tracks are there, it can be used. Even determining the power lines where tree pruning are needed, it can be used. So I would like to acknowledge NRF to fund some part of this project, and these are my collaborators. So in a legal term, they are my collaborators, but Singapore Land Authority, A-Star, NUS CRIS, GovTech, and private company Gree Hill, these are our trusted parties who worked with us. This is last but not the least, we have received a few awards. SG Tech Blazer Award back in 2019 for Best Adoption Public Sector. And just 3 days back on 7th, we received United Nations WSIS ITU 2020 champion for this project as well. And the certificate is shown here. So that's a quick sharing about my presentation. I'm open for the questions. Hope you have liked this.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. I think that is definitely a very, very interesting presentation. I didn't know that Singapore really has so many trees that I think if without technology, managing all our trees can really, really be, almost impossible to manage. Okay, with that, I would like to open the floor to some questions from the audience. So first question, are the data of location and type of trees accessible to the public?
The answer is yes. If you go on to our website trees.sg, it is our community engagement program where people can see what are the trees outside of their home, what are the trees outside of their office, and you can just go onto the map, click on the tree, and it will tell you that what species of the tree is, when was the tree planted, if the information is available, what is the girth of the tree, what is the height of the tree, and when the pruning of the tree is scheduled. Actually, that platform also opens an engagement session where you can actually tree mail, you can write something to the tree, and we have a dedicated people who are passionate about tree, and they will answer your query as a tree answering the query. You can look onto the website trees.sg. That's it, trees.sg. You will find all the information.
Okay, next question. Would obstructions like passing vehicles affect the LiDAR data collection?
The answer is yes and no. The thing is, there are obstructions, yes. But when LiDAR goes, actually it emits almost 100,000 to 200,000 rays per second. And when it returns with a lot of data like intensity, and number of returns and all, and it works on the light principle. So actually it reflects, then reflects, then reflects. So if like something is stationary there, then we might be able to collect partial data from the various side when the car is going. But I would like to also tell you that we don't scan the roads during the morning peak hours or evening peak hours. We scan the roads usually when there is less traffic.
Okay. Next question. Is the 3D scanning applicable for forest management, particularly for assessment of trees in dense primary or secondary forests?
As I shared earlier, we are using airborne lidar data for the areas where car cannot go, and forest management is actually something where airborne lidar data is helpful. For mobile lidar scanning, we can only go where a car can go, and for terrestrial scanning is applicable to few of the parks, and handheld scanner or backpacks are also being used. But for forest management, we are leveraging only on the airborne lidar data, which is available thanks to Singapore Land Authority.
Next question. Can LiDAR capture the 3D shape of the tree? Example, the back of the tree.
Actually, it covers, we have tested it various roads for this. So for the center divider of the tree, actually where there is center divider, we have to scan two paths, like once go and then we have to return back also. So on the center divider, yes, it is being covered on both the sides very well. Actually, we have multiple images on both the sides. On the road side, actually, it is able to cover up till 330° of the area, and if there is a space available, means light can reflect, then we are able to capture until 360°, because the height of the tree goes and scanner set up on car, and when car moves, the light emitting goes a few meters before until the car moves and goes to the end. So we have a pretty good data where we can extract tree semantics easily.
Okay. Next question is a compliment. Very impressive.
Thank you.
How much time did NParks take to transform from the analog inspection to digital management of trees?
Thanks for the compliment. I would say it is a journey. So NParks is using 2D database for a very long time. NParks is using the old compact handheld devices for the data collection, and 5 years back we converted it into an iPad or mobile app, which is the recent trend, and it is helpful for the officers to go onto the ground. However, if the recent one, like using the LiDAR and all these things, this we have started recently, like 4 years back, and we are able to reach to this place. And there is a lot of research involved in this. The reason is there is no ready solution available in the market who can really come and give us the ready softwares. So we have to really think, and we have tested with different data sets. We have tested with various algorithms. We had our own share of difficulties, and where we tested different algorithms, different data sources, and then we finalized what is good. So the time taken is actually the development, research, and then we are moving from research to operations. So it's like an ops stack. It's not like do the research and then we think what to do. We are actually moving into the ops stack. I think I answered your next question as well.
The main challenges, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So that question has been answered. Let's take on two more questions. Next question: how often does NParks collect satellite images?
So the thing is, satellite images actually helps us to identify the health of the tree, and we are building a trend analysis onto it. So we start with a small area for a few years, and then we are building our model to be more robust, to avoid false positives to us. So I would not say that we are just collecting the new satellite images. We have a repository of the old satellite images, and we are also using the data to train our model, coupled with our data which is available from the 2D data inspection, or sorry, 2D tree inspection process.
Okay, one last question before we break for lunch. Another compliment. Hello, thanks for the presentation. I thought the story about collecting the data for tree inspection and then extending the use of the data to other use cases like predicting leaning of tree and possible infestations was inspiring. What tips do you have for other agencies on how to better harness the power of their data?
Okay, this is a very interesting question. I would like to tell you, I'm an IT person, and when I joined NParks 5 years back, actually I went down to the road to do the tree inspection first time with the officers. And believe me, I came from a consulting background, blue shirt, black pant, all, and wearing like this kind of clothes very normally. When I went onto the ground, I actually felt the pain of the tree inspection and what are the challenges officers face. So I would say the first thing is, if someone has to change the business process, we have to go with the user or with the people who are doing the work and live a day like that, or 2 or 3. And once you live a day, maybe go back again after 1 or 2 weeks. And that will help you to understand the data, what data can be used. And frankly, there's a lot of data available, and Singapore Land Authority, GovTech, all working in collaboration for the technology as well as data.
Okay, so with that, I would like to thank Abhishek for a very, very, very interesting presentation about our trees in Singapore and how we manage them. We have actually a lot more questions. Perhaps we can collate all these questions and we can send it to you, Abhishek.
Yep.
And then we can probably compile them and have all these answers sent to our attendees. Okay. So with that, I would like to give a big thanks to Abhishek for giving us this presentation. And thank you so much to all attendees for attending our webinar. Do attend the webinars that we have in store in these 2 weeks in the Singapore Geospatial Week Plus series of webinars. With that, I would like to thank everyone and enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Thank you.